I'ma make it. Youth's born for greatness. For you see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. You know see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. So till Santa him can stop get all youths from one. Oh you are big dreams that we are. Oh. And living this life I know. No, that you, yeah. And me really can't easy. No, can't weary. No. Jah know you can't stop the flow, just let the children go. Want every youth put on their thinking cap. No more time to laugh. Keep learning the fact. The poor and the man has been brainwashed. Adhering to a heart. The leaders them chat. Just like that, them falling at the trap. But you see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. You know see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. So till Santa him can stop get all youths from one. Oh you know, big dreams that we are. Oh, but I'ma make it. Youths born for greatness. So you see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. You know see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. So till Santa him can stop get all youths from one. Say whoa. Say whoa. Ready now, me ready now. A time to share, a time to care, a time to happy. But the whole year just went and you forgot it. Too much disguising on your love. I know I come tell the eye about Merry Christmas. Lord, you need to give a little. You get your riddle. You need to show the people something more. Don't let the heart shiver when fear's driven and end up losing it. But I'ma make it. Youth's born for greatness. For you see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. You know see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. So till Santa him can stop get all youths from one. Oh you are big dreams that we are. Oh. And living this life I know. No, that you, yeah. And me really can't easy. Can't weary. No. Jah know you can't stop the flow, just let the children go. Want every youth put on their thinking cap. No more time to laugh.
Good day, brothers and sisters. Good day. This is Studio Galaxy 473 from Confaro, Paraclete. And this is a new kid on the block. So we encourage you to share Studio Galaxy 473, share it with your friends and anybody, and speak about it. This is a program that we start and is also a means to provide information for people, to provide quite a lot of facts, but for people to express their opinion on issues. We want to encourage our public to speak on issues and express their opinion. And on this program, you're going to have a diverse subject matter. And from time to time, we will have different people, irrespective of their political, religious, or cultural belief, expressing their opinion. We believe that if our democratic process are to be strong, we must be able to discuss issues in an amicable way, in a gentleman manner. The community must sit down and discuss issues. The same way, you have big festivals, and there is no squabble, there is no fight. People sit down and have a good laugh. We must be able to sit down and discuss important issues. We have to culture ourselves. We have to culture our family. We have to culture our children to sit down and discuss issues. And Studio Galaxy 473, operating from Confaro, will provide that opportunity for you. Today is the second time we are making some attempt at Studio Galaxy, so we kind of rough. But as time goes on, we hope to be able to attract different speakers on subject matter throughout the Caribbean and in the diaspora. We have a strong contingent in the developed world, and we encourage them to spread the word around, share, and participate in the discussion. And very soon we're going to have the means where you can call on WhatsApp, and also we will be able to read out your comments on social media. We are on YouTube. We also are on Francis Pierre's Facebook page and on Target on Facebook, and we constantly encourage you to share our program. Today, we're going to speak a bit about agriculture. We believe that we have the answers to solve our problem. We in Grenada have the answers to address the challenges that face us. We in the Caribbean have the answers to address the challenges that face us in the Caribbean. I believe we are too fractured, we're too divisive, and we do not want to sit down and solve the problem. And that would be one of the main objectives of Studio Galaxy 473 from Confer, to encourage our people to culture ourselves so that we must be able to sit down and discuss issues. Obviously, we're going to start this program like that, targeting agriculture. And in this program, we'll be directly coming up with solutions, coming up with suggestions, making suggestions. What are the areas we believe that the government of Grenada must concentrate on where agriculture is concerned? We don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's not necessary to reinvent the wheel. Grenada today for eons. So now we're supposed to be masters in the technique of planting, growing, the husbandry practices, and they understand the market more than any other. I believe the challenge is we have not put our heads together. We don't act as a think tank. We don't sit down and work out what we did many years ago, what we're doing now, what we should do, and where we want to go. So, I am appealing to the authorities that be, because in quite a lot of sense, the authorities have to make the first move. They have to facilitate the process. It's an important thing for government to facilitate the process. And I'm not really disappointed. I'm not really surprised, but I'm slightly disappointed that this government seems to be in a state of paralysis. They doesn't seem to understand the role. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. So I'm appealing to them. Pay attention to the cocoa industry. Chocolate. There are some short-term issues and there are long-term issues. But it is a fact that we are already exporting cocoa. We know from day one that if you're exporting a product in its raw states, then you would not get as much money from it as if you have byproducts, if you manufacture. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that. All over the world, whether it was rubber you was exporting, once you export it in its raw state, if you're exporting diamond, oil in its raw state, the people who are manufacturing and making byproducts would make more money than you. And nothing is wrong with that. But the cocoa industry, we are neglecting the cocoa industry. And cocoa is a food. In addition to that, cocoa is a romantic food. And as people increase in their discretionary income, they are more likely to buy cocoa, to buy chocolate, because it's considered as a romantic crop too. So they're going to pay more for it. And although the world seems to be producing quite a lot of people on the unemployed people, you still today have more millionaires today than any other time in our history. Because the technology provided helps you to amass discretionary income without much labor. So whereas in yesteryear in Grenada, if you had to plant a telephone post, you might have had 15 or 20 workers to plant a telephone post. Today, if you have to plant a telephone post, you don't really need more than 2 workers and a machine. You find people building houses in areas today that they would not have think about it, because heavy-duty machinery is able to make it possible and make it even cheaper for it to be done. So we need less labor to produce. The government have an industry and we have a market for cocoa. There is a market available. So emphasis must be placed on greater production, greater productivity, better quality cocoa and try to have more use of byproducts. We have about 4 chocolate factories in Grenada. And chocolate is expensive. But you don't have a chocolate you could buy for a child. So a little child cannot go in a supermarket and get a chocolate produced in Grenada at the cost of a sweets, or for $1, or for $2, or even $5. The cost for a unit of chocolate might be over $10. So automatically, you are discouraging Grenadians for consuming Grenada chocolate because you do not want to put it in a unit that makes it economical. So perhaps we have to brainstorm. And those people who are involved in cocoa production, the farmers, the factory, and the authorities that be have to sit down together, brainstorm, and come up with answers. You don't need the Americans to tell you that. You don't need the Russians to tell you that. You don't need the Chinese or other people in the developed countries to tell you that. We have been growing cocoa for decades. We know that. We have to prepare to sit down and come up with answers. I noticed that the cocoa has practically neglected the husbandry practices that takes place. So a lot of our cocoa fields are neglected. Now why? It baffles the mind. Today, we have more highly certificated people at the helm of the industry, more university graduates, more well-trained individuals that is in a position to use science and technology and make life easier. But on the ground, in its practicality, it doesn't seem so. So today, I plead with the authorities that be, the stakeholders, to sit down and come up with pointers. Perhaps you could ask each locality to come up with two single ideas how to improve the husbandry practice. Only 2. Your 2 most important ideas. You might have 22 or 222. But maybe it will be wise to ask your division or your meeting place to come up with only 2 ideas. So when you finish, you might have 19 ideas. And you might surprise to know that it might only be 4 or 5 new ideas. And try to implement them. The husbandry practices is a joke. It has deteriorated. You know, we need to do that. The government perhaps have to take the lead. It's not rocket science. You don't have to bring consultants from outside. We are the consultants here. We've been growing the crop for long enough. Some people all their life. The farming industry is a very good success story for many. If you go back to different communities, some of the richest people in Grenada were farmers. They send their children to get educated and they paid their way from farming. So farming could make money. The government have to facilitate the process and provide broad directions. So I'm appealing to the government that be, the Minister of Agriculture, the President of the farmers' representative in the Senate, and the different boards to come up with 4 or 5 simple ways where you could improve the cocoa industry and the product. Brainstorm, shop around. We could use the different celebrations to commercialize the industry. In the same way the businessmen use Christmas and Carnival to increase their sales, you too could use Christmas and Valentine and Mother's Day and Father's Day to help to market and increase your sales and productivity. We have to culture our children differently. We're making our children believe that they can make money from the land, that they can make money from the cocoa industry. So today, I want to appeal to you to do that. Let us take another crop. Let us take nutmeg. The nutmeg industry is another successful story. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Nutmeg is a long-term crop. The nutmeg has stood up well in our lifetime. Several hundreds of millions of dollars was obtained from that industry. Grenada got Isles of Spice as a result of nutmeg. Do Grenadians consume enough nutmeg? Do Grenadians make enough use of the nutmeg? What's about nutmeg husbandry? The husbandry practice in the ground. Are we where we're supposed to be? Maybe sometimes when we have disaster, we don't use the disaster to better improve and educate ourselves. We had lost a serious quantum. A large percentage of our nutmeg fields was destroyed in Ivan and Emily. And in some areas where the trees were not destroyed, after, a year or two after, those trees died. Have we found out why? Why the nutmeg trees did not stand up better against the force of this powerful wind? There are some schools of thought that says our nutmeg trees are too tall. We plant them too close. So because of the competition for light, they grow too tall. We notice that the nutmeg leaves don't fall. They don't break out like golden apple trees and other trees under harsh wind conditions. The leaves are very strong and they don't fall out. The branches don't break that easily. So during the high force of the wind, what we had is the tumbling effect. The roots of the nutmeg is not as powerful as the roots of some trees, like mango and mottle. So because of the excessive height of the trees was practically too tall for the root system. So are we culturing our farmers to plant nutmeg further apart so that the nutmeg trees would not grow so tall? So the next time we have a serious hurricane, we are likely to lose less trees. Are we culturing our people? Did we learn from the hurricane? Now, what does the board and the extension service and the minister of agriculture, do you people sit down and talk? We send our best sons and daughters to university to get initiative. You see, our forefathers, they were big dreamers. They wanted to control the factors of production. They had labor and they had capital, but they lacked initiative. So they send the brightest sons and daughters to university to get initiative. Our sons and daughters came back, and obviously our forefathers was disappointed because they did not come back with initiative to help to control the factors of production. And even today, it seems that our most educated sons and daughters are preoccupied with getting rid of the capital that we have. And they have very little respect for the quality of labor that we have. I wish we could sit down and talk. You don't have to agree with me on that. But we could sit down and exchange ideas to address the challenges of the husbandry practices in the nutmeg field. You see, I'm concerned and I'm afraid that the next time a hurricane with that level of force hit Grenada again, the same percentage of nutmeg will be destroyed. We will again fall flat on our blessed assurance. And more of our nutmeg buildings will be white elephants. The structures were there. When you look at the nutmeg buildings, they were built as if they could stand 100 years easy. So now most of them are empty. And the nutmeg board is staring at them. But they are not prepared to do what it takes to prevent another occurrence. Talk to our farmers. They like nutmeg and cocoa. Have the Grenada government, the Minister of Agriculture, and the board and the farmers' representative approach the University of the West Indies so that they will do the necessary research and investment in nutmeg industry. Grenada is known as a land of spice. Do the University of the West Indies have a program that could give somebody a degree in nutmeg, cocoa, and spice science? Does the University of the West Indies have a program that somebody could get a bachelor's degree in nutmeg, cocoa, and spice science? Does the University of the West Indies have a program that some student could go and get a master's degree in nutmeg, cocoa, and spice science? Are we not a land of spice? Why we were called a land of spice? I think principally is because at one time in history, we was the second largest producer of nutmeg in the world. And on the international market, Grenada was considered as the most organized exporter. Although it was the second largest producer, but we was the most organized exporter in the world. Today, maybe we fall about 8 or 10. Nothing's wrong with that. We don't have the land space like other countries. But the exports in nutmeg should be from Grenada. How did the University of the West Indies help us? How did our best minds, our best brain help us? Is it children that went to university? Their forefathers send them, our forefathers send the brightest sons and daughters to university to get initiative. Did they come back and help the agriculture industry? Look around you. Don't believe me when I speak. Look around you and see if you see the effect of science, of modern technology involved in the nutmeg industry. Where are our sons and daughters that were sent to university? The government of Grenada. What are you doing about that? It saddens my heart because this present government, more than any other in the history of Grenada, seems to be wallowing in a paralysis. As if they don't have a clue what to do. So today I advance for discussion. That the exporting nutmeg should wake up. Wake up from your slumber and pay attention to nutmeg husbandry. The height of the nutmeg tree. Sit down and determine what should be the height of a nutmeg tree. And culture the farmers how to grow the nutmeg so they do not exceed in any serious way the recommended height. What is the distance that you should plant nutmeg between 3 crops? It's a fact that if we are fighting for light, we have to grow taller. If you put pigs in a pen and there is not enough light, they will grow taller. This is not rocket science. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. This is known. So even if we are 8th and 9th and 10th in the world, I believe Grenada could develop exporting nutmeg, cocoa, and spice science quicker than anyone else. I believe the University of the West Indies should have training courses up to postgraduate in nutmeg, cocoa, and spice science. When you have a cup of chocolate, you want a piece of spice in it? When you have a cake, you want chocolate in it? When you feel extra romantic, you want chocolate. Oh, when will we wake up? When we could understand that we could solve the problems, we are capable, we are equipped, we could address the challenges that face us. But we must be prepared to sit down and have a discussion. We have a short break and then we come back.
Say whoa, 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 whoa. Say whoa, 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 whoa. Ready now, me ready now. A time to share, a time to care, a time to happy. But the whole year just went and you forgot it. Too much disguising on your love. I know I come tell the eye about Merry Christmas. Lord, you need to give a little. You get your riddle. You need to show the people something more. Don't let the heart shiver when fear is driven and end up losing it. But I'ma make it. Youth's bound for greatness. Yeah. For you see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. You know see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. So till Santa him can.
Welcome back again to Studio Galaxy 473, and we are operating from Confer. This music you've been listening to has been done by one of our local people from Confer, a student of National College, intelligent youth, but he decided to take up farming. He had no land, so he wanted to take up farming, so he rented land. Number of people encouraged him to go get a job, but this youth decided, no, I wanted to make a difference. I want to be a farmer. And he's a good farmer, by all means. Good young farmer. Never been to the bank for a loan. Start by renting land. And he's playing his music. And I think he has 2 or 3 songs already that we could play from time to time. And he's a farmer. You know what is interesting? He likes the traditional crop too. Nutmeg, cocoa, and he does some vegetables. What are the crops in Grenada that we have a market for? We already have market for cocoa. We have market for nutmeg. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have to make the wheel work better. That's what we are called to do. Make the wheel work better. And now we have the export of soursop. Soursop is a relatively new kid on the block. But Grenada is the only country in the region that can export fresh soursop to the US market. Well, that is a big thing. We can export fresh soursop to the US market. Mexico have made a number of attempts. And anytime Mexico succeed, crapo smoke with pipe without tobacco. What are the challenges facing the soursop industry? I want to ask the farmers' representative in the Senate, the chief technical officer in agriculture, and the minister of agriculture, sit down together and ask 3 of you, what are the challenges facing the soursop industry? The farmers' representative in the Senate, you supposed to represent the farmers in the upper house. So you represent the soursop farmers in the upper house. The chief technical officer in agriculture, you also represent the interests of the soursop grower. And the minister, you is the messenger to effect the policy based upon the recommendations of these individuals. Have dialogue with the exporters in soursop. They must be extremely knowledgeable because they want to make money. Have dialogue with the extension division and have dialogue with the farmers. And let us find ways quickly in how we could increase production and productivity in the soursop industry. Come on. These things are not rocket science. These things is simple. You don't have to speak English like the Queen or like Paul Schoon to do that. You don't have to swallow the grammar book. You don't have to wear jacket and tie. This is simple things. You don't have to meet in any sophisticated office. All you have your phone. You all could meet in the rum shop, below a tree, inside a car, by the road, over a drink and discuss this issue. Sometimes I believe you, the intelligentsia, is embarrassing the country. Via the authority to bring three of you all together and give you all 6 strokes each. What are the ways we could improve the source of industry? So I'm going to suggest some ways. I'm not giving you advice. I don't have the academic acumen to give you advice. I'm just an ordinary rustic of nondescript breed. But I'm going to make suggestions for discussion because I believe we could address the challenges that face us. We don't have to go to Brazil. We don't have to go to India. We don't even have to go to the University of the West Indies. They are regurgitators. We in Grenada could sit down and come up with a solution. We have a market. We cannot supply the market. One of the challenges we have is transportation. We have to airlift the source up. We can't send it by shipping. One of the problems we have is transportation. Because the tourist industry is not dynamic as we want it to be, we have less space on the plane. So you have to address transportation. One of the challenges we have is the quantity we produce. We have the market, but we can't supply the market we have. One of the challenges we have is the quality and also the Croton scale insect is affecting salsa. This is not rocket science. From the time this government has come in power, this government has refused, they have refused to have a meeting with the source of exporters. The farmers' representative in the Senate have not bellow and ball in the head to have a meeting with the source of exporters. I don't know if the farmers' representative in the Senate had a meeting with them. But the government refused to have a meeting with the source of exporters. The people that are directly involved. Now why? Agriculture, as far as are concerned, you're counterproductive to the source of industry. Initially, the government closed down the pest management unit that was controlling the Croton scale virus. The Croton scale insect is not a virus. The Croton scale insect in the source of industry. Without explanation, without justification, without rationale, without informing the farmers or the workers involved. They opened it back after a couple of months with 1/3 of the staffing. Now, the government of the day have to understand, although the trees that we presently have, they maybe they're operating at 15% capacity. That's my estimation. And you could ignore that. I'm not a professional. In fact, I'm worse than an amateur with source of is concerned. But I'm a farmer. So why not increase the productive capacity of the trees? What do you do? The farmers must know what to do to make his trees make more. What he must do to make the trees bear more. What he must do to make the soursop tree instead of producing 5 source up a year, could produce 100 source up a year. The information is there. The technology is there. Then why we don't do what is necessary? This is one of the areas that bring in foreign exchange to the government. The government is clumsy. I mean, this is basic, rudimentary information. You don't have to have no big qualification to know that. If you have a tree that is not producing as well as it could produce, then what do you do to make the tree produce more? Is the government, do you hear government send out a paper, a white paper, a fly sheet, one sheet of paper to farmers advising them about source of husbandry with a view to increase production? What's about pollination? What are the techniques to increase pollination in the source of industry? Would increase pollination, would increase pruning naturally increase the productive capacity of the tree? Why our government is not doing these little things to increase the productivity, the productive capacity, to increase the production in local parlance, to make the tree bear more? Why is the government not doing that? We have all kind of export in the ministry. All kind of export. Walking around with master plans. But you don't have to even write for that. You have a phone, and on your phone, they have area where you could jot down points. If the grammar not good, but the farmer making money, the farmer don't want to keep record. A farmer tell me, record. He said, just keep record. They ask him what record he going to keep. He said, oh, nobody in Grenada. My wife happy. My children are sending all them to school. He said, you want me keep more record than that? We have to do more. We have so much individuals that have the necessary qualification. Them is agronomists. Well, how do you practicalize your certification? Yes, you is agronomist. You get your certificate. But now that you have your certificate, how do you make this certificate work for you? The source of industry is crying out. We can increase the amount of money we get from the source of industry. Farmers are planting source up more, not at the scale they should plant. Because they don't even have to harvest it, you know. The source up traders have their own staff harvesting the farmer's source up. And the price for a pound of source up, I understand, is about $2.50, $3.50. And quite a lot of farmers see it as a good crop, because what is the cost of production? Now, how the government does not see that as a little gold mine? So I believe the authorities that be, the stakeholders, the farmers, don't give up. The government head hard as Google Lame. The source of traders, could you believe that this government is there from the month of June? We're in March now. And the government refused to have a meeting with the source of exporters. and the actions of the government vis-a-vis the cotton scale insect pest management could only be described as sabotage. Sabotage. Now, for what reason? In terms of the quantity of sauce-up that the market can accept, we way out of it. The government have lands. Why is it the government didn't plant 30 acres of sauce-up in Grand Bay Estate? That would automatically increase the production of sauce-up, the quantity of sauce-up. And sauce-up, I understand, could mature between 18 months to 3 years. Instead of that, the government seems to be ignoring their own estates. They don't care. I constantly say we must solve our problems. We don't have to get assistance from China. All these things I speak about today, we don't need foreign help for that. We have the experience, we have the farmers involved, and you have the incentive that if you do what is right, you're going to make money. You're going to make more money. Today I'm going to speak about the last one. The fishing industry. Again, Grenada have a market to export fish. We are very fortunate. When people say God is a Grenadian, believe that. We're very fortunate. We have a market for cocoa. We have a market for nutmeg. We have a market for sauce-up. And we have a market for fish. A number of other countries in the Caribbean wish they had a market for fish and sauce-up and cocoa and nutmeg that we have. Are we maximizing our efforts in the fishing industry to increase production and to improve the quality of fish and the transportation? That perhaps, in my opinion, are the three major factors retarding the amount of foreign exchange that could come as a result of the fishing industry. Transportation, quality, and productivity. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Now, if the individual who represents us in fishing, you might have to act as a catalyst and know you have the capability. I think you have done more than perhaps all other farmers representative in the Senate in the last 1,000 years. But I don't know. Maybe the malady and the paralysis of this government has stunted your growth. So I'm begging you, farmers representative in the Senate, don't align yourself. If you want to be a true farmers representative, don't openly flaunt any political party. Farmers representative in the Senate, if you want to be a good farmers representative, don't flaunt any political party. Seek the interests of the farmers. Go to the people involved in fishing. And you don't have to go to all of them, Choose about 3 of the good ones. Or choose 1 in St. George's, 1 in St. Andrews, 1 in St. Patrick's, 1 in Victoria. Sit down with them and ask them, give me 3 or 4 things that we need to do to improve the productivity in fish, to improve the quality. You don't need a long essay. You could go and get this information in a very informal way. And you're supposed to be able to write, you're bright like smoke. Put it on paper. And tell the minister and convince the minister if you do it, you will get all the praise. That alone could move these ministers. And nothing wrong if they get all the praise. Because the industry would benefit. Hell was praise. Tell the minister you will get all the praise. Tell him how to do it. Because the ministers, it is proven that the minister don't have much agricultural sense. Why can't we improve the productivity level in the fishing industry? In other words, we must hold more fish. We must have better quality of fish. And I believe storage is a factor there. We must have better quality of fish because I believe storage is a factor. We need to do that. We can't continue like that. Otherwise, these exports, your action is practically laughable. And you're going to lose respect. You're like jokers. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Cocoa, nutmeg, sauce of fish. What we do in the fishing industry, we improve the quantity and the quantum. And in local balance, we hold more fish. Then we have to improve the quality of the fish. So we need to talk about the storage and methods of cleaning, etc., etc. And the fishing industry have the same problem with transport as the sauce-up industry. But if we improve the quantity, we could hire a plane and let the plane bring fish and sauce-up. It has done before. You know, both of them join up and try hiring plane. Minister of Agriculture, you don't have to make all kind of crazy loose statement. You have cocoa, nutmeg, sauce-up and fish. And if you could do that alone, they're going to say he's a good minister. But now, you look as a political lunatic. And we can't afford that. You are the individual involved in policies. You don't have to have the answers. The people involved have the answers. You just have to respect them and take the suggestions and go forward with it. You know, we have to believe as a people that we could address the challenges that we have. Don't put down yourself. Believe that. You don't have to swallow the grammar book. The technology is available at your fingertips. Your cell phone in your hand is like an institution of information. If you don't know how to use it, ask the children. But we have to do better. It is a sad day for agriculture because the individuals who are claiming they are expert, they don't make it 1 cent. They have plenty certificate, but they lack the ability to practicalize their certification. So I think, I don't know if we have much time to go again. We have more time? How much minutes we have? 2 minutes? We just round up here. As we go back and say, we have to believe as a people that we could solve our problems. We don't have to go to the Russians or ideology. It's not about ideology. The world has changed. China has state-sponsored capitalism. Russia is capitalism. All the countries that was pushing communism now is capitalism. Some of them is state-sponsored. We have cocoa, nutmeg, and sauce-up and fish. We have the market. All we need to do is to increase the production, the quality, Look at the husbandry practice and storage and transportation. Because we have to take it from Grenada to bring it to the US market. The fish and the saucer, the nutmeg and cocoa is right. That will go in both. But the fish and the saucer are perishable parts. And we want to thank you for listening to us on Studio Galaxy 473. We are operating from Confaro. And we ask those who hear us to share our program, subscribe to our program and share it. And those in the diaspora, please share our program, like our program, share our program, and tell your friends about it. And you can always go back on YouTube and Facebook. We on YouTube, we on Francis Pierre Facebook page, on Target Facebook page, and you can share it on your Facebook page, where we come up with real suggestions and solutions and facts and opinion, all in a view to make our country a better place and our people a happier people. Thank you very much.
Say whoa, 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 whoa. Say whoa, 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 whoa. Ready now, me ready now. A time to share, a time to care, a time to happy. But the whole year just went and you forgot it. Too much disguising on your love. I know I come tell the eye about Merry Christmas. Lord, you need to give a little. You get your riddle. You need to show the people something more. Don't make the heart shiver when fear's driven and end up losing it. But I'ma make it. Youth's born for greatness. For you see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. You know see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. So till Santa him can stop get all youths from one. Oh you are big dreams that we are. Oh, oh. And living this life I know. No, that you, yeah, and me really can't easy. No, can't weary. No, no, no. Jah know you can't stop the flow. Just let the children go. Want every youth put on their thinking cap. No more time to laugh. Keep learning the fact. The poor and the man has been brainwashed. Adhering to a heart. The leaders them chat. Just like that, them falling at the trap. But you see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. You know see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. So till Santa him can stop get all youths from one. Oh you know, big dreams that we have. Oh, but I'ma make it. Yeah. Youths born for greatness. Yeah. So you see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. You know see I and I own cheddar with one amount of labor. So till Santa him can stop get all youths from one.